Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and I have a pretty solid episode, next episode of People's Questions. I got basically questions from mostly regulars. I think I may have one newbie, and before I begin, I would just like to apologize. If you guys hear dogs next door, they've been doing that for so many weeks now. I don't know what they're talking about, but it's been driving me crazy. So we're going to the first question coming from Macker, and you want to know, who is my favorite video game developing studio? Can't really answer that question now, because I would. There was a time I would have said Konami, but Konami can go screw themselves after what they've been doing. I can't say Square Enix. If I didn't pick Konami, I probably would have picked Square Enix, but they did make 13, and I still haven't quite forgiven them for that. So I can't really answer that question right now. Maybe in a few years I'll have a better idea. And apparently a cloud just blocked some of the sun, so I got a little bit. Oh, guess it didn't. Sorry. Next question comes from Santiago Scarpino. He wants to know, if I had to either go to Singapore or Australia, which would I choose? Probably Australia, because I don't know anybody in Singapore. I have a friend in Australia, so I don't know if I ever want to meet him. I guess I'd have to go to Australia to do that. Next question comes from, I believe, the only newbie of the episode, going by the name of Robert Avram. Hope I said that right. And you want to know, so do I plan on doing a huge versus matchup in the near future? And what you mean by huge, you mean more than 3 people. Okay. There's really no point of keeping it a secret now, because I have no idea when I'll ever get to this. If it's going to happen, it'll probably happen sometime next year, so it's not really worth putting much thought into it now. But if I was going to do a matchup involving more than 3 people, it would be a team battle. And I had ideas of doing a matchup between Chris and Jill taking on Leon and Ada. I technically have already done a matchup between Ada and Jill, and I've already said that I'm not going to do a matchup with Leon and Chris. But I never said I wouldn't do a match involving all 4 characters. What that matchup would come down to is who's really the better team. I think that's really what's going to come down to. And some people could probably guess the outcome of that right off the bat, but if I was going to do a matchup involving more than 3 people, that's what it would be. The next question comes from Macho Wesker 17. You want to know, which is my favorite non-Force user villain in the Star Wars Legend universe? Ooh, that's a tough one. There aren't too many of those that are memorable. But if I had to pick one from Legends continuity, the only one that really sticks out to me that I would probably say he's probably still within my top 10 favorite Star Wars villains. It's probably Prince Shizor from the Shadow of the Empire storyline. The reason I know that is because I did play Star Wars Shadow of the Empire on N64, and I did go on to read the novel, and that guy is just creepy as all hell. I kind of like that he has somewhat of a rivalry with Darth Vader, and Darth Vader doesn't really like him either. And he kind of does something with Princess Leia, which I wasn't expecting, and she kind of does something to him I thought was absolutely hilarious, because I'd never heard of that happening in Star Wars. If you want to know what she does, let me know in the comments down below. It's pretty damn funny what she does. But yeah, if I had to pick a non-Force user villain, he would be probably the one I would pick as probably my favorite, just because he's the only one that really has stuck with me after all these years. The next question comes from Zyborg1360. He wants to know, do I believe that some game reviewers are heavily influenced by the publishers to get better scores so that they will be able to sell more copies? I think that if the reviewer is getting paid in some sense, I'm not saying all reviewers are like that, but there's definitely some hint of doubt that that might be what's going on. I mean, I'm not getting paid for any of my reviews, and I don't really make much money off of them. But you can't say that if a developer says, hey, we're going to pay you this much to review our game, if you give us a positive review, you know, we'll continue to see more games and pay you more. because I honestly do believe that's kind of how much of the bigger gaming you know, news outlets work, like something like IGN. I know for a fact they're getting paid for that's just I mean, they are a business, and so obviously they're gonna have to take some bribes, but you know, that I can understand that, which is why I don't really follow their reviews too closely. But I do think that some are, but I don't think most do that. I think some of the smaller channels that do reviews, I think that they're pretty legitimate, especially the ones that get free copies. I do know of a few smaller channels, they're bigger than mine, but not like top level, but I do know that they do get legitimate review copies, and they are pretty legit with the reviews, and they're not getting paid for any sort of profit. So I think that some do get paid and get influenced, but I think most don't. The next question comes from Gokuson. You want to know, since Shepard is a higher level of peak human, do I think that he scales in strength of Batman with Prep Time and Captain America? So you're asking, do I think that Shepard could win a fist fight against Batman or Captain America? No. Both those guys are top. Captain America and Batman are top level martial artists. And you don't necessarily need to be a physical match with someone in order to take them down. I mean, Batman has taken Pete down, I mean, for God's sakes, he's taken down Bane, who I don't think anyone could deny is his physical superior. But Batman, because of his intellect, just knows how to take him down the right way, and Captain America is the same way. So, no, I do not think that Shepard would win a fight against Batman or Captain America, even if he was physically on their level or superior to them. I don't think he would, because he's not the biggest martial artist. You have to remember that. And I believe the next three questions. The next one comes from Abil, and he wants to know, if I ever lost interest in versus matchups, would I start making character profile videos solely based on one character, feats, strengths, special abilities, speed, abilities, experience? That's definitely an idea, but I don't think anyone would really be interested in that. I think there aren't too many characters I could think of where I could do just an entire video talking about them that people wouldn't already know about. There aren't too many characters I could think that could do that. Next question comes from JDS4696. He wants to know, what do I think will be the next Star Wars anthology film? Well, hopefully we'll get an announcement soon that we're getting an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie or a Boba Fett movie. I mean, those rumors have been spreading for like the past number of years, so hopefully this year one of them will be confirmed. And the last question of this episode comes from HydroGoBlood881. You want to know, would I consider using X-23 as a fighter, and if not, why? Because X-23 goes into comic books. I'm more of a video game person. I don't think I've used a character that was strictly movies as far as I can think of. Every character that I've used in all my versus series matchups have been from video games. Once you start going into comic books, that's an entirely different level of analysis, because there's several different versions of X-23. So how do I know which one to use? The advantage of using video game characters is that they're somewhat always part of one continuity, and so I can actually focus on one particular portion of this person's history and just focus on those abilities that they had at that specific time, or their combat experience throughout the franchise. You can't really do that with someone like X-23 because she's been part of so many different storylines. I'm not going to do what Death Battle does, and they're going to take all different versions and just compile them into one ultimate character, because then you're using a perfected version of that character. And I don't think any character should be unbeatable. Every character that I have used in my matchups, there is someone out there in their universe that I do believe can take them down. Otherwise, what's the point? So, no, I probably will not be using X-23 in a matchup. And with that, those are all the questions that you guys sent for this episode. I'd like to thank you guys for making this episode possible. If you guys have any more questions I couldn't answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. But make sure you get them into me before next Wednesday, before I start filming the next episode. And I would prepare myself. I might be uploading a bit of an update video, because there are some things that are about to happen to me that I kind of want to wait a number of days before I announce them. One of them I'm pretty excited about, and one of them is going to be a big change for me and the future of the channel. So keep your eye out for that video. So with that out of the way, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.